8, 7,
Roll B.
6, 5, 4, 3.
Ko ngā Pito Pito Kōrero o te wā, tonight on Metro News.
The countdown is on for re-entering the cathedral.
We take a look at the cassette tape revival in Christchurch.
And Ōtautahi's female startup community comes together to inspire.
Talofa lava Ōtautahi.
Welcome to Metro News, a program brought to you by the students of the New Zealand Broadcasting School. It'll be another 3 months or so before the cathedral is safe enough for contractors to re-enter. A remote-controlled digger is currently cleaning out the inside of the building, and that'll be followed by further stabilisation work. Cameron Joe is checking out progress on the repairs and joins us now. Cameron.
The team of workers say it'll be the first time a digger of this kind will be used in a heritage building. They were a safe way of clearing debris in Redcliffs and the Port Hills around 11 years ago after the quakes. But now it'll be working inside to pick up the pieces of our shaky past. Behind these walls lies a digger, controlled by a joystick. Pro-Trans Earth Moving have rolled into the Christchurch Cathedral to do work that can't be done in the flesh.
We've got a critical role in removing all the debris that's fallen and all the bird guano that is, being cleaned up from the last 10 years or so of birds roosting in there.
The digger is crucial to the reinstatement.
Once we complete that work, then it will enable nailers to carry out internal propping and strengthening of the building.
The reinstatement project will be completed in 2027 and residents will finally be able to return to the historic landmark. Accompanying the cathedral will be a new modern visitor centre and public spaces to the north and south, contrasting the Gothic architecture of the reinstated building.
Just clearing out some of the rubble, and this is just some of the scaffolding I'm working on at the moment that was in there between the earthquakes. So yeah, just unsafe for anybody to go in there.
And it's not an easy task.
You haven't got the feel of the digger, so yeah, it can be quite difficult.
The digger is planned to be on site for the next 5 weeks, with stabilisation expected to be completed by September.
So I think 2 weeks in, we're pretty comfortable of how we're progressing. It's pretty complex and we need to take our time.
The result? Getting one step closer to the heart of the city. Later this year, once it is safe to go inside, the walls will be strengthened and they'll begin work on the foundations. And after that, they'll rebuild the tower and other features. Now, this project is going to cost around $158 million, and I've still got to raise about 60 of that.
Thanks, Cam. Christchurch's independent musicians are thriving as the DIY ethos of the 80s and 90s makes a comeback. Cassette tapes are at the core of this resurgence, and as Violet French finds out, their revival is proving popular.
Christchurch's DIY spirit lives on. Brian Ferry operates Melted Ice Cream, a one-man cassette and record label from the heart of South Christchurch's industrial zone.
It's DIY because there isn't a great deal of money involved. I kind of think it needs to stay that way.
For a decade, Christchurch's underground musicians have been hitting rewind on the way they release their music, starting as a cassette-only label.
The reason that happened was because there was a bit of a transition happening from people actually needing the physical formats to listen to it, to the physical formats being kind of a form of merchandise.
It's going from strength to strength, now including vinyl releases. Brian's roster is jam-packed.
We've got a Jim Nothing album, we've got the Violet French and the Horrible album, EP, and it's all hands on deck really.
The label's profile continues to grow, but Brian's staying humble, not wanting to take over the world, but maybe New Zealand.
In the last 5 years, we've got our ducks in line a little bit better. What I would really hope for is a large portion of New Zealand to know what it is and for them to follow it.
His aim? For Melted Ice Cream to become a household name in New Zealand. Violet French, Metro News.
Christchurch restaurants are doing their part to combat New Zealand's binge drinking culture. As I discovered, some venues are putting on limits, making the beloved bottomless brunch not so bottomless. Cantabrians are missing the extra mimosas as local restaurants knuckle down on bottomless brunches.
We're getting a group together, having fun, having lunch together, just catching up.
But many restaurants are now enforcing a drink limit. For some, what starts as a casual catch-up can take a turn.
People who were seriously out to take advantage of it, who were doing 2 bottles of wine per person or something like that.
Police have started expressing concern that the bottomless option encourages drunkenness. Under the Sale and Supply of Alcohol Act, restaurants have an obligation to ensure a range of food is available, at reasonable prices and in a reasonable time. Mason Lattimore runs Kaiser Brew Garden.
It was back in December. We got a tap on the shoulder from the police saying that this was a friendly warning to say that they were going to come around.
He took action.
So we wanted to get ahead of the curve rather than it be illegal the next day, which we've seen it has happened around different districts of New Zealand.
Police are adamant this is the right move to ensure a healthier environment for those having a beverage with their brekkie, instead of promoting binge drinking culture and what they call a limitless free-for-all. And Cantabrians seem to be getting on board.
I can see why some people get pretty rowdy. I just think some people can't handle the alcohol, but so be it.
I think it's fair. I do understand it because it kind of gives off dangerous drinking.
Last time we did too, I got a bit drunk, but setting limits to sort of like limit control of everything, so it's probably a good idea to get into limiting how much everyone has, but yeah, I get the idea of it.
The team at Kaiser now offer an endless supply of food and a 5-drink limit.
It's a bottle of wine. Yeah, so 5 drinks, 5 glasses of Prosecco, it works out to be a bottle of wine in 90 minutes is a pretty good way to start your Saturday morning.
Local businesses and customers on board to make the bottomless brunch a bit more civilised. Safia Metha-Woolidge, Metro News. A man has been charged over the theft of a 120-year-old carving from Kaiapoi Pa. The 40-year-old already faced charges of burglary and appeared in the Christchurch District Court today. Further charges have been laid for the stolen artefact. Police say that they are thrilled to have found it and have returned it to its rightful place in the community.
The New Zealand entrepreneur community is lacking in female presence. There are moves underway to get more women involved in business. Over 80% of Kiwi startup teams are exclusively male, but there's a push to change that. Luca Foreman goes along to find out more.
Electrify Aotearoa is all about promoting women founders.
The whole startup ecosystem at the moment globally is a total boys club. And essentially the future world is being created without any women in the room.
Not only does this disadvantage women, it can also put them in danger.
But then it becomes actually life-threatening when you're sitting in a car whose safety features have been designed for men and for men's bodies, and it doesn't save women's lives.
This is the first ever Women Founders Summit in New Zealand. There's all kinds of successful speakers here to help inspire the next generation of startups. The event's fully catered and even provides childcare to those who need it.
Some of the notable women in attendance, the Mayor and MP Megan Woods, here to announce changes to research and development grants.
Look, this is something that we've been hearing from a number of industry players, that the R&D tax incentive is a huge support to a number of businesses, but there is some additional support around the side that we need to do.
The changes seen as good news.
It's so impactful. There isn't a startup in our community that doesn't work with those types of grants, and this is a more refreshed version.
One example of a woman-led startup is Magic Beans, an app which helps communities be more sustainable.
We encourage and inspire people to grow more of their own food at home and to swap and share their excess with their community.
The fact this event was held in Otatahi is no accident. It's considered a hub for innovation.
Christchurch itself has totally transformed to a city that is investing in innovation, in aerospace, in future food and transport, in medtech, health tech. This place is the bomb. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
The women who came along are enjoying the opportunity.
It's been outstanding.
Some great wahine in our country doing epic things, so it's great to be here to celebrate them.
I am electrified. You know, the energy in there is amazing.
The organisers hope to run it again next year and make it an annual event. Luca Foreman, Metro News.
E Whai Akane coming up next. We look into how electric scooters are creating community, and a local Christchurch venue is serving up a healthy environment for gig goers.
Hi MTV, welcome to my crib. So So my first step is talking to the journalist to discover what the story is about, and then from there I will grab the gear and figure out what gear I will need for the shoot and pack it into the car and make sure it's all there, make sure it's all working. So then we drive off to location, get set up, talk to the people we're interviewing, find out some good locations to do pieces to cam, and we get some shots. We get a lot of B-roll to give the editors some options for the overlay to add over the interview. When we have finished rolling, we pack up, we thank the people we're interviewing who have let us film in their location, and then we make sure all the gear is packed up fully because we don't want to leave anything behind, and we drive back to base, which is at New Zealand Broadcasting School, right here, and we load everything into these cabinets. My name is Vicky Duff, I'm the head camera operator for Metro News 2022.
Hoki ma'ano, welcome back. With Aotearoa at Orange Light, live music is once again drawing a crowd. Ducks venues have a long history of supporting local bands and are adapting to make things even more attractive. Hannah Powell's been following the story and joins us now. Hannah.
Ducks Central is offering a safer space for people to enjoy music. Event manager Ross Jones says they're not interested in the binge drinking culture. They're targeting older students, with Ross saying they'd rather not fill up a room with drunk people just to make money. He says it's not an environment Christchurch needs or Ducks wants. Colour Thursdays have returned to Ducks Central. The venue is hoping to draw young people back into the central city.
We target students because I feel like that's probably a demographic that will go out on a Thursday night, but it's not called a student night. And the whole idea behind it is originals music.
The weekly gigs aim to foster community and the local music scene.
I'd love to be able to sort of open it a bit earlier, sort of 6 p.m, and have everyone sort of hanging around outside and having a beer and things like that, rather than the sort of just staying at home and drinking at home, or just going to like the main strips in town, or just going to the big drum and bass gigs.
Right now, Ducks Central may be quiet, but tonight it'll be packed to the brim with young and old music fans alike.
Yeah, I was a bit worried because of the COVID situation that the performing wouldn't be as, like popular and back in business, but it's quite happy to see that it's kicking back up again. The people are a lot more friendlier and really reciprocating the live music stuff, so that's cool.
The last gig I was at was a D&B one, and I definitely prefer this vibe compared to D&B.
I mean, it's been like a year since I've been able to play any originals, so very cool, very satisfying.
Colour Thursdays offer something new. Free food, free pool and free water pong.
I think it's really important when you go to a gig that you've got the drinks on offer, you've got the people, you've got the music, but also that sort of wow factor, like, oh, I haven't seen that before.
Ducks want gig goers to have fun, but be responsible while doing it. Initially, Ducks was offering free transport to and from the University of Canterbury, but after a full busload arrived and basically swarmed the place, Ross Jones says he was kind of put off the idea. He says 18-year-old freshers are just a bit too young, not quite in line with the vibe that he wants to create with Colour Thursdays.
Thanks, Hannah. It's out with the plastic and in with the metal for Christchurch dog tags. The current ones will be phased out as part of this year's registration renewal period. Animal Services say at least 40,000 plastic tags go into red bins every year, and the new ones will be much more sustainable.
Electric transport continues to grow in popularity following the shift to renewable energy, and some enthusiastic locals have taken this trend to the next level. Caitlin Clark reports.
This unlikely bunch has bonded over one thing, the love of e-transport.
It's just something fun, like some people like swimming, some run. We like riding these things.
It's just freedom, you can feel lift your visor up, you can feel the wind in your hair and your face and the camaraderie of these guys.
There's an electric atmosphere here on a Saturday morning as people young and old have gathered for a scoot around town. The motley crew call themselves electric transport enthusiasts and have found a real sense of community and friendship amongst each other.
Electric Mayhem hosts weekly scoots around the city.
Since we started in 2019, it's expanded hugely.
We have trikes, we have unicycles, bikes and of course the scooters.
They ride for about 2.5 hours, and it's not for the faint-hearted.
Maybe up in the hills or on a back road where it's quiet, we might be able to go a bit faster, but generally maybe up to about 50, 60.
We're really safety conscious, like everybody that rides with us has to have full protective gear, full face helmet.
A joyride around town is just the icing on the cake.
Yeah, we all come from different backgrounds and we've got this thing in common and we just bond over it and have a good laugh, meet some new people that maybe you wouldn't cross paths with normally.
For me, it was a thing to overcome my fear of riding on a scooter. Fear is no longer there, which is awesome.
Everyone is welcome.
We've ranged from 18 to me at 67.
Yeah, we're a pretty good team.
Zooting away, this E-team may be the pioneers of a new trend. Caitlin Clark, Metro News.
The Christchurch Art Gallery has been host to many events since its construction in 2003. But it's not very often that a supercar is the main exhibit, so I went down to take a look.
The people are here, the drinks are poured, and another masterpiece is ready to be unveiled at the Art Gallery. The Maserati MC20 is the newest car in the range, worth just over $500,000.
Well, it's incredible. Number one, it's painted and designed in-house. It's produced, developed and manufactured 100% in Italy.
The new engine is their first in 20 years.
It's F1 inspired, it's 630 horsepower, what more could you want?
And with a top speed of over 300 kilometres an hour,
it's quick.
It will take a while to get one, as they're all handmade to order, and each one is unique.
We've actually got about 3 or 4 in New Zealand at the moment, and literally that's our allocation for the rest of this year.
Although this may have some of the things that you'd find in your mum's Corolla, the MC20 can do 0 to 100 in just under 3 seconds.
Organisers think swapping the showroom for a gallery was a nice touch.
I love it. I think the art gallery and just the fact that the dealership's also involved with the local community, and look at the number of people that are here. People have come in their droves. So considering all the challenges with COVID and mask wearing, no one's shy tonight. They love being here.
It's a great partnership for us. It's a hell of a venue, as you can see.
As they look into the future, an electric version is expected in 2024. Archie Milligan, Metro News.
If you're bracing for the cold this winter, there's plenty of events to keep you warm. The Te Rama Mai Lighting Festival kicks off in 3 weeks to celebrate Matariki, the first time it's been a public holiday. Along with Kids Fest and the Go Live Festival, Council says there's something for everyone.
And now for the weather. It was a beautiful day in Ōtautahi today, reaching a high of 17. We can anticipate a few showers this evening, going down to an overnight low of 10. Cantabrians can expect rain and cooler temperatures to continue tomorrow, with a high of 12 degrees. That's all for Metro News tonight.
For those stories and more, head over to our website, metronews.co.nz, or check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram and TikTok.
We'll be back tomorrow. Ko Safia Methawillage, aho.
Ko Archie Milligan, aho. Thank you for joining us.
Mate wa o te tahi.